Game heroes are dominated by dudes, bros, guys, fellas, blokes, and
bad hombres.
But some of the best games are led by badass women. I've already covered tons of great games with heroines front and center, but there's still way more worth talking about. So, here are 15 more games with female heroes that you need to play. The first game may come as a surprise with Okami. Now, I never said the female protagonists had to be human. Originally released in 2006 with an HD remaster in 2017, Okami is the mystical action-adventure game developed by Clover Studio, where you play as the sun goddess Amaterasu, who takes the form of a white wolf, as she embarks on a quest to restore beauty and balance to the land, which has been cursed by dark forces. Set in a gorgeous, painterly world inspired by Japanese folklore and mythology, the game has been compared to The Legend of Zelda with its general structure, and while there are no doubt some similarities, Okami is unlike anything else. The gameplay has you exploring the vast, diverse landscapes, solving puzzles, and fighting enemies in fast-paced combat. A total standout is something called the Celestial Brush, and this is so cool. It allows you to paint directly into the world to summon powers like creating wind, slicing through enemies, or rejuvenating nature. A highlight that was made even more perfect with the remaster is Okami's distinctive art style, looking like Japanese ink wash paintings called sumie, and the music is just the right accompaniment, adding emotional depth to the journey. In addition to improved visuals, the HD version adds widescreen support and smoother gameplay, making it the definitive way to experience this masterpiece. Okami remains a timeless adventure, offering a flawless blend of art and engaging gameplay. Moving on to one of the best entries in the Aliens franchise since 1986's Aliens with Alien Isolation. Developed by Creative Assembly, the studio behind the Total War series, and published by Sega in 2014, Alien Isolation is a survival horror game and an absolute love letter to Ridley Scott's original Alien film from 1979. That movie was described as a haunted house in space, and Alien Isolation captures the same tense, hold-your-breath atmosphere. Set 15 years after the events of the first movie, you play as Amanda Ripley, daughter of Ellen Ripley, as she searches for answers about her mother's disappearance aboard the Sevastopol space station. Nailed it. However, the station is overrun by a terrifying xenomorph, rogue androids, and desperate survivors, forcing Amanda into a dangerous game of cat and mouse. The gameplay emphasizes stealth and survival, as you scavenge for resources, hack systems, and carefully manage your limited supplies. Unlike a lot of stealth-based horror games, you're not defenseless, but you're significantly outmatched by the xenomorph. The unpredictable AI ensures no two encounters feel the same, keeping you on edge with a constant sense of dread. Since you won't survive a direct fight with most of the threats, you'll rely on hiding, creating distractions, and quick thinking to survive. I absolutely love the feeling of this game. It's one of the few games that genuinely manages to be terrifying. After a decade, a sequel has finally been announced. It's currently in early development, but I can't wait. And if you've ever played the original, you know why. With its immersive atmosphere, retro futuristic design, and intense difficulty, Alien Isolation delivers a nerve-wracking horror experience that not only captures the essence of the Alien franchise, but is one of the best horror games ever made. Next up is Ender Lilies Quietus of the Nights. Developed by Livewire and AdGlobe and released in 2021, Ender Lilies is a dark fantasy action RPG with Souls-like and Metroidvania elements. Set in a ruined, rain-soaked kingdom ravaged by a mysterious curse, the game follows Lily, a young priestess who awakens in a devastated world with no memory of the past. As she journeys to uncover the truth behind the curse, she's joined by purified spirits of fallen knights, who lend their abilities in combat. The gameplay is a mix of exploration, platforming, and white-knuckle combat. As a Metroidvania, you explore interconnected areas, gaining new abilities that open up previously unreachable locations. Lily herself isn't a warrior. She can't fight, and she's weak, but she can summon the spirits of knights, mages, and other warriors to fight for her. Each essentially act as a unique attack or skill that you can map to the controller button and use in real-time combat. As a Souls-like, combat can be punishing, requiring you to carefully manage your summons, focusing on timing and dodging to prevent getting wrecked. And when that happens, you'll wake up at benches, reminiscent of the bonfires from Dark Souls. The 2D presentation and world building are hauntingly beautiful, accompanied by an emotional soundtrack and atmospheric storytelling, creating a melancholic world full of lore and tragic characters. Ender Lily stands out for its challenging combat, rewarding exploration, and the deep bond between Lily and the spirit she purifies, making for a thoughtful and beautiful experience.
Return to your homes, or face death.
Okay, let's talk about Ion Fury. This is such a rad throwback created using the Blue Engine, which is the same tech behind Duke Nukem 3D and the original Shadow Warrior, but developed in 2019 by Voidpoint and published by 3D Realms. This fast-paced FPS is set in a dystopian cyberpunk world, where you step into the boots of Shelly Bombshell Harrison.
Say my name.
Hell yeah, she's got the same badass attitude as Duke himself, and I'm here for it. She's an ex-bomb disposal expert on a mission to stop the evil Dr. Jadis Heskel and his army of cyber cultists. The gameplay feels a lot like those fast-paced, explosive 90s shooters, with non-stop action, secret-filled levels, and an arsenal of weapons, including dual-wielded revolvers and grenade launchers. It emphasizes strafing, precise shooting, and resource management, rewarding you for exploring its sprawling, interconnected environments. Look, even if you don't have nostalgia for those older games, even if you never played them, I recommend checking out Ion Fury. It has tight level design and buttery smooth combat, with some modern quality of life bells and whistles. You feel like a beast exploring the pixelated environments, blasting fools in the face as the heavy beats blare. Yeah, it's rad.
I lost my mother when I was very young.
Moving on to a hidden gem locked away on the PS3 with Folklore. Developed by Game Republic and released in 2007, Folklore is a beautiful action-adventure game set in a dark fantasy world that draws heavily from Celtic folklore and mythology. The story follows two different protagonists, Ellen, a young woman searching for her mother, and Keats, a journalist investigating supernatural occurrences. Their journeys take them to the mysterious village of Doolin, which serves as the hub and gateway to the Netherworld, a realm filled with spirits and otherworldly creatures. Both characters explore different realms of the Netherworld to uncover the truth about their pasts. As you explore the fantastical realm of the Netherworld, you collect monsters called folks and use them in real-time combat. As you fight monsters, you'll use the 6-axis motion controls to pull their souls out, and you can summon them to fight by your side. Those gimmicky 6-axis controls were everywhere on the PS3, particularly in the early days, but this is one of the better feeling uses. Each folk has unique abilities and elemental attributes, adding strategic depth to the combat, as you can switch between them in battle. Ellen and Keats explore the Netherworld separately, with different perspectives and combat styles, which makes for two distinct experiences. Folklore has so many unique ideas, a deeply atmospheric world, and a jaw-dropping art style that I'd love to see a remaster of. Since it's exclusive to the PS3, there's no great way to play it without the original hardware. But if you can get your hands on a copy, I recommend you grab it. It's a cult classic for a reason, bursting with originality and mystery in a gorgeous atmospheric world.
Not that I wish to imply you have been sleeping on the job.
One of my favorite games is Half-Life 2. Valve's talent was on full display in this bigger and bolder follow-up to the groundbreaking original. so it's no surprise that fans have been clamoring for Half-Life 3 for years. And while we're still waiting for a proper sequel to Half-Life 2, we were shocked to get a new Half-Life game in 2020 with Half-Life Alyx. Set between the events of Half-Life and Half-Life 2, you don't play as the iconic silent protagonist Gordon Freeman. Instead, you play as Alyx Vance, a support character who accompanied you in Half-Life 2. She's a resistance fighter battling against the alien Combine forces in a dystopian City 17. Tasked with uncovering powerful secrets and rescuing her father, Alyx explores eerie environments, solves puzzles, and engages in tense firefights, all while navigating the dangers of the world under occupation. Oh yeah, and the game is a VR exclusive, meaning if you didn't have a compatible headset, you weren't playing Half-Life Alyx, which, as you can imagine, was incredibly disappointing to the fans of Half-Life, who either didn't have a headset or didn't like VR. However, if you do, this is one of the best VR experiences out there, totally immersing you as you physically interact with objects, manually reload weapons, and use gravity gloves to manipulate distant items. Every encounter feels more visceral through this perspective, with moments of exploration, stealth, and combat seamlessly blending together. Valve has once again created a masterpiece with a really innovative use of VR, with their signature storytelling and world building. And even though we're still waiting for Half-Life 3, Half-Life Alyx offers a rich extension of the Half-Life universe.
We don't have an image record, so we can't find any official files. All we have is the name. Good luck, Perfect Dark.
Up next is Perfect Dark. Developed by Rare and originally debuting on the N64 in 2000, Perfect Dark is a first-person shooter that blends espionage, sci-fi, and shooting. The series is regarded as a spiritual successor to GoldenEye 007, which is high praise, especially for the time. Set in a cyberpunk future, you play as Joanna Dark, the secret agent working for the Carrington Institute, as she uncovers a conspiracy involving rival corporations and mysterious alien beings. The gameplay is a mix of stealth mechanics and a beefy arsenal of futuristic weapons, where missions often bounce back and forth between stealthy espionage and action-packed firefights. Particularly for the time, the environments were incredibly interactive, having you operate lifts, open doors, and activate computers. Just like 007, a highlight is the multiplayer. Ah yeah, I remember playing endless hours with buddies and AI bots, hunting each other in different arenas and modes like Deathmatch, Capture the Flag, and King of the Hill. Good times. A prequel, Perfect Dark Zero, was released for the Xbox 360 in 2005, focusing on Joanna's origins, but it wasn't as groundbreaking, with mostly mixed reviews for its pacing and story, though fans still hold out hope that the franchise can once again reach its iconic heights. And with a reboot currently in development by the Initiative, Perfect Dark may rise once again, returning to its thrilling roots while modernizing the gameplay for new audiences.
I hope you're ready, Agent Dark.
Are you all seeing this?
Once you open this door, there's no going back.
Moving now to a cool side-scrolling action game called Icey. See what I did there? Developed by Phantom Network, Icey blends hack-and-slash combat with a clever meta-narrative. You control Icey, a mysterious cyborg warrior on a mission to eliminate the powerful antagonist, Judas. Right off the bat, you can see the awesome mix of fast-paced combat with its fluid combos and powerful abilities, and a skill tree that allows you to upgrade attacks and customize your fighting style. The game plays as a 2D hack-and-slash, using a sword to perform quick combos. Instead of a block, you use a dash with a decent amount of invincibility frames, where you refill your shield by killing stunned enemies with a special kill move. But what sets Icey apart is its fourth-wall breaking storytelling. The narrator guides you through the game's environment, but you're able to rebel and explore alternate paths. This interplay between the narrator's expectations and your freedom creates a unique narrative experience, making the game feel both philosophical and pretty damn funny. With its crisp, stylish visuals, tight combat mechanics, and intriguing narrative layers, Icey offers a blend of engaging action and thought-provoking storytelling. It's a relatively short but memorable experience that rewards both fast reflexes and curiosity.
Focus.
Where are you?
I'm trapped in my past.
Alright, let's talk about Alice: Madness Returns. It's a dark psychological action-adventure game developed by Spicy Horse and published by EA in 2011. It's the sequel to American McGee's Alice, which reimagines Lewis Carroll's Wonderland through a twisted gothic lens. You follow Alice, a young woman traumatized by the loss of her family in a fire. Struggling with her haunting past, she returns to a deteriorating Wonderland, a manifestation of her psyche, to uncover buried memories and face her inner demons. Gameplay combines platforming and exploring through the fantastical and twisted environments alongside combat, with Alice wielding weapons like the Vorpal Blade and the Pepper Grinder. The art direction is so incredible, blending eerie, surreal environments with Victorian aesthetics. Themes of trauma, madness, and healing underpin the story, adding surprisingly deep emotional overtones. The gameplay can get repetitive by the end, but the visuals and atmosphere never do. This is another franchise I'd love to see brought forward using modern technology, with a remaster or a third entry. And while that may be overly wishful thinking, Alice: Madness Returns is still an incredibly unique experience, well deserving of its cult status. Next on the list is Drakengard 3. Okay, so most people have at least heard of Nier after the well-earned success of the incredible Nier Automata, another game with strong female characters that I've talked about previously. Nier is a spin-off of the Drakengard series. Drakengard 3, developed by Axis Games and published by Square Enix in 2013, is an action RPG that serves as a prequel to the original Drakengard. You play as Zero, an unstable and violent goddess-like figure called an Intoner, who sets out on a brutal quest to kill her 5 sisters, other Intoners, while accompanied by her dragon companion, Mikhail. Beneath its chaotic narrative lies a story about power, trauma, and the nature of control. The gameplay mixes hack-and-slash combat with aerial dragon battles, requiring fast reflexes as you switch between ground-based melee attacks and flight sequences. You're usually accompanied by AI teammates, making the fights feel big and chaotic. Zero can switch between 4 weapon types that can be leveled up and have different effects against her different enemies. The story is filled with dark themes, twisted humor, and surreal plot twists, and with directors Keisuke Mori and the notorious Yoko Taro, it's no surprise that there's some wacky bits and a sprinkling of fan service. Drakengard 3 has gained a cult following for its unorthodox storytelling and connections to the Nier series, offering a dark, unconventional RPG experience unlike anything else.
I must do this. It is my role. I am just an idiot.
I suppose.
Right? Here goes.
Okay, if you like fear, and come on, who doesn't like fear, then you'll really dig Selaco. It's a first-person shooter developed by Altered Orbit Studios, running on the GZ Doom engine. Known for its blend of intense combat, smart AI, and utter destruction. Heavily inspired by classics like Fear and older boomer shooters, Selaco offers both butt-clenching, high-octane gunfights and quieter exploration moments, rewarding you for taking your time to uncover secrets within its detailed world. Movement is buttery smooth, with mechanics like sliding for combat maneuvers and stunning enemies. You encounter enemies with evolving abilities, keeping battles continually fresh and just rad. Additionally, Selaco's design encourages flexibility, allowing for both stealthy or chaotic playstyles, depending on your approach. With over 30 polished maps, tons of weapons, and modding support, there's a lot to like. So if you're a fan of retro-inspired shooters with modern design twists, Selaco is right up your alley, with a satisfying mix of old-school boom boom with contemporary mechanics.
So you're the one making all the fuss.
Moving on to Bright Memory. Developed by FYQD Studio and released after a lengthy early access period in 2020, Bright Memory combines fast-paced first-person shooting with hack-and-slash combat. This was a smaller indie project that, while still fun, served to lay the foundation for its follow-up, Bright Memory Infinite, released in 2021. Both games blend shooting with swordplay, allowing you to seamlessly switch between firearms, melee attacks, and special abilities to create combos. Set in the near future, you follow Shalia, an agent investigating supernatural events tied to ancient mysteries. The gameplay emphasizes fluid combat with customizable weapons and fast-paced movement through the environments, almost like a mix of a shooter and an action game like Devil May Cry, and just feels totally badass. Now, the experience is pretty short, with campaigns that last only a few hours. And despite its indie origins, you'd be forgiven for thinking this is a AAA release with its high production values, with ray tracing and 120 FPS modes on newer platforms. So, looks great, plays great, and doesn't overstay its welcome? Yeah, this is a good one. Up next is Asterigos Curse of the Stars. Developed by Acme Game Studio and published by TinyBuild in 2022, Asterigos is an action RPG, blending traditional RPG elements with a Souls-like influence, where you follow the journey of Hilda, a young warrior who ventures into a cursed city in search of her missing father and tribespeople. The gameplay has you using a variety of weapons and elemental abilities in fluid combat, encouraging you to continually adapt your strategies for each situation. You can switch between 6 weapons and explore intricate environments with shortcuts that interconnect the sprawling areas. The game also integrates narrative depth with meaningful character interactions, though there's some rough voice acting at times. While challenging, Asterigos is designed to be a bit more forgiving than a typical Souls-like. It offers customization options through skill trees, and although some bosses can be underwhelming, the exploration and combat systems have a solid, engaging design. It's a game that deserves more attention than it got, and definitely worth checking out.
Welcome to the Aperture Science Enrichment Center. Let's look at some of the challenges you'll face as a test participant.
Okay, now for another incredible entry from Valve, with both a female protagonist and antagonist. Portal is a first-person puzzle platformer that was included as part of the Orange Box in 2007, which, by the way, is still the best value ever in gaming. Set in the mysterious Aperture Science Research Facility, you control Chell, a silent protagonist tasked with navigating a series of test chambers, using the iconic portal gun. Oh man, this device is so cool. So it creates linked portals on surfaces, orange and blue, and with it you solve physics-based puzzles in the most creative ways. Now, it's not just portal guns and puzzles, you're guided by a sinister AI named GLaDOS. The game unfolds with a dark blend of humor and growing tension. As you progress, you uncover hints of something more ominous behind the seemingly routine tests. The writing is witty and sharp, the mystery is intriguing, and the puzzles are consistently mind-bending. I'm usually not a huge fan of puzzles, but the devs struck just the perfect balance of challenge and reward, without ever getting frustrating. Portal has since become a cultural phenomenon, praised for its clever level design, tight gameplay, and of course, the promise of cake. It's often included on best games of all time lists, with good reason, and has left its mark on tons of games since. And last but not least is Crosscode, a radical indie action RPG from Radical Fish Games that blends retro 16-bit graphics with more modern gameplay mechanics. Set within a fictional MMORPG called Crossworlds, the story follows Leah, an amnesiac protagonist navigating the game world to uncover her past. You explore an overworld where you can either engage in combat or solve puzzles to progress. During combat, and while solving puzzles, you can instantly switch between different elements, each granting Leah different puzzle-solving and attack abilities. The combat is fast-paced, using either melee or a ranged ball launch. Puzzles involve the same ball launching mechanic used in combat, sometimes requiring you to hit items like switches or boxes in a certain order or time limit. You can use money, barter, or find items and equip clothes to grant buffs. Crosscode has been compared to The Legend of Zelda, with its fast-paced combat, challenging puzzles, and deep exploration, offering a nostalgic yet fresh experience for RPG fans. Well, there you have it, another 15 games with badass female protagonists. I've covered tons of awesome games so far that you should check out, but I know there's a bunch more. So, what games should I include next? If you liked the video, hit like, drop a comment, and of course subscribe. And if you want more of my thoughts, check out my video right here. I want to thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you next time.